Hi, I'm Adam Housley. Kenneth Williams was the fourth death row inmate to be executed in Arkansas in just 8 days. The execution, however, didn't go as planned, and Williams' legal team is demanding an investigation. According to some witnesses, Williams lurched and convulsed before he died. Arkansas's Governor Asa Hutchinson said the execution went according to protocol and said, quote, "It was obvious to me there was not any indication of pain. Hutchinson did not attend the execution. Williams was sentenced to death for murdering a former deputy warden after he escaped from prison in 1999. At the time, he was serving a life sentence for killing a college cheerleader. Here to discuss is trial attorney Hunter Shkolnik. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you coming to here on FoxNews.com. What
Morning.
should happen? Obviously, this didn't go as they had thought it would go, but what should happen during these executions?
Well, first of all, you're not supposed to be, believe it or not, inflicting pain on the prisoner when you're putting them to death. No one's suggesting that the person shouldn't be put to death. The question is, how do we go about doing it, and do we do it in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, which says no cruel and unusual punishment?
So here in California, obviously, it's been over 10 years since the last execution. I actually saw the second to the last, which was Tookie Williams, one of the gang members from South Central, I believe to have started one of the biggest gangs in California. And when he was put to death, it was almost clinical. Well, it is clinical, really. So I told my friends who were in favor of the death penalty, hey, this was maybe not what you expected. And those, of course, against the death penalty clearly weren't happy with the outcome. But at that point, there was some argument and debate that he had this deep breathing, and then he eventually just stopped. And there was some debate that maybe that one didn't go as planned. In this case, it was apparently clear that the patient or the inmate convulsed. My question to you is, how can their attorneys, and knowing all of that, prove that this was actual pain? I mean, this may have come after he was already out, so to speak, because it's a process where obviously that you go through. There's several drugs that are administered. Well,
it's a three-drug process. They're using one drug, Versed, which is the one that's really in controversy right now. Some people are suggesting the movement of the body is after death, post-mortem. Others are suggesting that these were minutes of the body convulsing, shaking, and the like. What you have to look at here is, what is the process? Is it clinical? You hope it's clinical. They hope they're making it clinical, but apparently the three-drug cocktail is not working the way it was supposed to.
You also have to see, because there's such a wide discrepancy in what happened inside that room, you also have to take into account who the different witnesses are saying and whether they have, basically an opinion in this process. Obviously, this is the first time this hasn't happened. Is reform needed?
Well, we're already seeing reform on this type of execution. The state of Arizona and the states of Florida, two states that are really not what I would call against putting prisoners to death. They've never been shy about doing it. Both have stopped using this drug cocktail, this Versed drug, which is the one that's being implicated in the convulsions. And what some people are suggesting is that the prisoner is actually awake and knows what's going on. Is that good? Is that bad? That's going to be dependent upon who's viewing that execution.
Right. Hunter, one more question for you. What will Williams' lawyers have to prove in order to get an investigation, and is there a chance they could actually have a lawsuit? I mean, this guy was a convicted two-time murderer of a cheerleader and a warden.
Well, what are they going to have to prove? They already have a judge saying, the federal judge saying, preserve the body, preserve the blood, preserve the tissue. They're going to be looking at that as part of a very detailed pathology or autopsy here, something that's not usually done following an execution. So here they're going to be looking at how did the tissue react and whether or not there's evidence of the pain which is supposed to be avoided during the course of an execution. As I said, I think it's hard to kill someone without causing some pain, and these drugs are meant to prevent that.
All right, Hunter, I appreciate you joining us. For complete political coverage, stay right here to FoxNews.com. I'm Adam Housley. Thanks for watching.